Hello YouTube, Liverpool fan in Japan here, the Miyazaki man Sai. Finally, this is the video on Xabi Alonso to Liverpool. This is the one you've been waiting for. As always, this channel is about substance in abundance. We're going to have a complete holistic view on Alonso to Liverpool, the evidence of Xabi Alonso coming to Liverpool, why he may not come to Liverpool, the alternatives, what he would bring to Liverpool in terms of his tactical acumen, and why I associate Xabi Alonso with philosophy and innovation and not formation. And I will show you the visuals as well on the pitch of how the players would transition, what they do at Bayer Leverkusen, how Liverpool would play and why they're not likely to play the 3-5-2. Now, I've been looking at a lot of other media, a lot of other channels, a lot of other analysis and write-up, and I think a lot of them are missing a trick here. Additionally, the links of Xabi Alonso to Liverpool, don't listen to tabloids, journalists in the know. One journalist was adamant Romeo Lavia was coming into Liverpool. Another content creator guaranteed through his exclusive sources that Jude Bellingham was already a Liverpool player. And all that kind of mumbo jumbo, right? So what I would advise you to do is take all points of views, all perspectives, all facts, all pieces of analysis, and come up with your own logical deductions. And with this channel being hosted by a former national junior chess champion, you'd hope it's more methodical and logical than most. So before we deep dive into the tactical setup and what Liverpool would look like under Xabi Alonso, and not just the playing squad and the playing style, but also the infrastructure and how a world with Xabi Alonso at the head of Liverpool's table would look different than Liverpool currently under Jurgen Klopp. Okay, before we get into that, the evidence for Xabi Alonso coming to Liverpool. Now, Jurgen Klopp announced of the current crop of new modern managers. Xabi Alonso is at the forefront. He's at top of the peak. He is the outstanding candidate among the managers. Now, would Klopp just outright say that and put Xabi Alonso on that pedestal, downgrading the prospects and all the other potential talent of other coaches, De Zerbi, Amorim, etc.? Would he outright say that if there was not a little bit of substance behind that? Maybe it's his own personal opinion, but that wouldn't reflect really well if, in fact, our top targets was De Zerbi or Nagelsmann or Amorim, for example, right? But once again, it could just be Klopp's personal point of view in this last season, so maybe he doesn't give a shiz anymore and he's just saying whatever he wants, especially to tabloid and media. He's saying whatever he wants, and I love it. I love this badass version of Klopp. Does not have to be politically correct. Heavy metal media, I love it. And then you look at the way the FSG has done things. Obviously, in Klopp's tenure, in FSG's tenure of the Liverpool club as a whole, we do things behind the scenes. We keep things under wrap. We don't let things leak. We had Fabinho after the Champions League out of nowhere, out of the blue. Jurgen Klopp signing, fantastic. Diogo Jota out of nowhere. How many links were there to Timo Werner, for example? We put smoke and mirrors in the media. The media are a mouthpiece, and think of it this way, right? A lot of the journalists who get invited to Klopp's press conferences and who want inside information and maybe leaks to the players and press and associated, all the mouthpieces, for example, they need to stay on the right side of the Liverpool playing squad, of the Liverpool media, or the Liverpool coach, because they will not get the exclusive sources if they were to leak information. And think of any well-respected media journalist. They want to be the one announcing that breaking news before anyone else, getting their plaudits and getting their reflected glory and their clout by breaking the news, right? However, if anyone of any substance in Liverpool gives these exclusive pieces and did not give them permission to release it, and they released it, their sources cut and closed. So you cannot take any word in the media, the general public, at face value. That being said, FSG have always planned to meticulous detail every single step along the way, and it's not just for the 1 month or the 5-6 months or the year or the 2 years or the 3 years or the 5 years. There will be plans and milestones in place for every single one of these periods, and there'll be escalations in terms of things don't always go to plan, but you have contingency there. This is how you plan a project. This is your business. It directly results in your finances, the success, the legacy that you leave, everything all and above it. You don't react to it. And this is why the sporting director coming in is a very, very interesting topic as well, because remember, you cannot just go out in the summer transfer window and say, I'm going to sign X, Y, and Z. Let's put in a bid for him, that random bid for Caicedo, for example. We don't know how long that was in the works. You've got to work on a relationship with the player and convince them to join the kind of appeal of the new world of Liverpool, put in the feelers and the feeders in place way before the transfer actually happens. And it's almost verbally done and dusted, and all that's left to actually ink the contract when you're allowed to within that period, that transfer window. So a lot of the legwork would have had been done already for the sporting director and the manager and potential transfer targets, because if you leave it late in summer, okay, we need a sporting director. Apparently we're targeting that first. You can't leave it to the sporting director to have, the in-depth analysis from scratch on the next managerial appointment. They have to be in place. They have to be aware of the manager coming in. They have to work with the manager, and the manager has to be aware of the sporting director coming in. And there's a nice little infrastructure there, because hand in hand they work together to make the whole thing work. Because you've also got to plan in advance for transfer targets that will suit the manager's playing style or what he's trying to achieve next season. Additionally, you also have to plan for the sporting director long term. So the seeds for Liverpool 2.0, but also 3.0 and 4.0, academy infrastructure, where we're dedicating the budget, the stands are complete, etc. So it all has to be a well-oiled machine. They have to understand each other, they have to work to each other's strengths, they have to work together for a combined vision, and everyone needs to know the names to faces. And there's not that many months until the summer transfer window, which will be crucial, because the new manager will have to establish himself from day one and really start from a high, taking over from Jurgen Klopp, who will hopefully end his Liverpool chapter in the most glorious way. So it would almost be discrediting FSG's professionalism if they did not have things in place, or at least fairly advanced, or at least a verbal agreement at this stage. And it might be they have that agreement with Bayer Leverkusen, they have that agreement with Xabi Alonso, maybe the financial details are all done and dusted as well, and they're all playing to the media, because Xabi Alonso has things to win this season with Bayer Leverkusen. They're top of the Bundesliga, they're absolutely flying, the only undefeated team in Europe. Jurgen Klopp has things to achieve with Liverpool. Everyone is concentrating on their own respective roles, and out of respect for each other, they're keeping things under wraps. And as Liverpool do, they don't release the information because there's nothing to release at this given time, and anyone in the know who knows it wouldn't leak it as well, otherwise they would no longer be in the know, or they'd be kicked out, right? Another consideration is, where are Xabi Alonso's options, right? So apparently there's a gentleman's agreement that he can go to one of his former clubs, so Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Liverpool, for example. You rule out Real Madrid because Ancelotti has extended his deal. So if Xabi Alonso does not leave the season, then it could be potentially he's looking at that as the next role, because Ancelotti won't last forever there, and Real Madrid building that Galacticos squad, dominating world football. Obviously Mbappe looking to go there next year as well, have an absolutely bloated squad full of world-class globetrotters. So that's a potential option. He could stay at Leverkusen for one season. Leverkusen are in the driving seat here because he's got still time on his contract remaining, so he does not need to force the issue. Leverkusen cannot be bullied. They will either let him go on a gentleman's agreement. I highly doubt a man of Alonso's integrity and his caliber would push the boat out and absolutely, cause disruption and ruin his legacy at Leverkusen to leave there. He'd have to go with Leverkusen's consent. There'll be no issue with the transfer fee to get him out of that position, because anyone who wants Xabi Alonso will pay probably what it takes. There's news about Bayern Munich being able to offer him a higher salary, but salary doesn't matter. Once again, if he's the man for the job, you'll be losing more in the long run by not appointing him. The statistical data point to him being the man, then you give him what he wants to get him out of that position into your hot seat and driving you going forwards, right? So there's that. And also Bayern Munich, it's a complete reshuffle, it's turmoil. The media will get on your back, the players are slightly disruptive, they need a big rebuild, and obviously Leverkusen wouldn't look in favourably for moving him to Bayern Munich, right, shifting him on, so they do that begrudgingly, and out of respect for Alonso's wishes if he wanted to uproot and move over to Munich, for example. But in Alonso's own words, with Guillaume Balage, his passion, his links to Liverpool, his commitment, one day he could see himself in the Liverpool hot seat if the paths were to cross in the perfect moment of time where there's a vacancy at Liverpool, which does not come about often, especially if you breed success whilst during your tenure at Liverpool, and you're available and you're identified as the one, the chosen one with the abilities. There's not often the chance for you to get that Liverpool hot seat, because he said himself in an interview that Gerrard, already in the academy training the youngsters in Liverpool, looked to be the logical next one, obviously at Rangers, and then that stint at Villa, now one of the highest paid managers in Saudi Arabia, having extended his deal already. So Alonso is perfectly placed to take the mantle there, because if you look, for example, at an Amorim or Nagelsmann or De Zerbi, if they succeed at Liverpool, they're going to be there 5 years, 10 years. They're still young. They can build a dynasty there. When's the next opportunity to come into Liverpool, right? And those links are an important thing, because Liverpool as an establishment, as a club on the world level, obviously playing ability, you can match them up with Galacticos or Real Madrid, Barcelona, Man City, etc. Of a club this size, you're looking at Manchester United, that kind of thing as well. But Liverpool is special. You need to understand the people of Liverpool, where they come from, the heartaches, the pain, Hillsborough, all the stuff. Alonso will know all about the history of Liverpool, what makes the fans tick, what they want to see, what it means to embody the spirit of Shankly, the follow-on to Paisley, the Hillsborough Memorial events, everything done with dignity, with respect. You have to have integrity. You have to be the front man for the whole bastion of invincibility that is Liverpool FC, facing the brunt of the media, facing VAR, facing the referee's decisions. I don't want to say corrupt or anything like that, because in fairness, they get a lot wrong for many other clubs as well. So let's not go there for now. But when times are tough, you have to stand up and lift everyone up. And when times are good as well, you can't let people get carried away. And Alonso has that calmness, but also the respect from the world football family because of what he's achieved in his career, his demeanour and his style of communicating. And now I've touched on Alonso as a person and as a manager, so it's a good time to go into what Alonso would actually bring to this Liverpool environment, how it differs from the Jurgen Klopp era, and why he would be a very positive appointment, possibly #1 choice for Liverpool. And to explain this, I've got something very, very special right here. I have here Sakura Mochi. Now this mochi is very, very special, and this is from the world famous Hasegawa Dango from Miyazaki, Japan. This represents the springtime of youth. This is a cherry blossom leaf, salted cherry blossom leaf, which wraps the beautiful Sakura Mochi, which pink and fresh in demeanor, but like Xabi Alonso, there are layers to the delicacy, right? So you have a bit of spice, you have exoticness, you have that Spanish flair from the Basque country, and obviously you have tactical acumen, ability, world-renowned prestige, obviously the rice, you know, bog standard, but within there you have the sweetness, that elegance, that exuberant flair, and a beautiful, handsome man. And isn't this piece beautiful as well? I digress a little bit, but inside, Xabi Alonso really is a sweetheart. My favourite player, great to look at, fresh and well constructed. Enough about the mochi, enough about Alonso. Now, some people don't eat the leaf because it gives a kind of salted, fermented flavour, but if Alonso were to come, you've got to enjoy the whole package. Sorry, I digress. Now, where Klopp drives his strength in terms of humanistic values, he's a father figure to the squad, a man of integrity. He leads from the front and leads by example. We are players for Jurgen Klopp. He is absolutely driven on instinct, on feel, on a bond, on connection. Whereas Alonso is a man to be respected. You respect him because he's better than you. As a player and as a tactician and a manager, he knows more than you. He's got aura of class. Klopp will go with the flow and go with the feeling and be reactive and instinct. Xabi Alonso prepares build up, prepares tempo. He's prepared in advance, all permutations and all situations. You look at him as a generational mind, class, classic, a conductor of the orchestra. In fact, he's probably financed the whole orchestra. You could also see Alonso being first chair violin with that beautiful tuxedo, that little tail at the back of the tuxedo, swishing it. Playing that world's smallest violin for the opposition as he tactically destroys them, right? Whereas Klopp is first man on a drum and bass. So the overall feeling that you get when you see Jurgen Klopp, because remember, on the training pictures, it's Pep Lijnders who's actually shouting instructions and barking instructions and telling people to get in place, and Klopp is giving the overview from a holistic point of view, whereas you'd imagine Xabi Alonso is on the field directly directing people what to do. In that regard, he's more like Mikel Arteta, obviously of the same generation, but nowhere near the same calibre, because Xabi Alonso was world class, world peak. Did Arteta even get a cap? I don't know if he got a cap for Spain. That being said, Xabi Alonso is still class with the ball today. I am sure you should probably give him a player manager contract, right? He could do a job, defensive midfield, hold the role, ping the ball about, get us going, right? Absolute classy player. I'm sure he could teach our holding midfielders, Wataru Endo, Mac Allister, Tyler Morton, a thing or two about playing that role. So there's that element of MJF from AEW wrestling. He's better than you and you know it. That's what you get with Xabi Alonso. Similarly, in the media as well. The way he explains his tactics, the way he explains what his teams are trying to do, the class of which he talks, and the accent, obviously going back to that Spanish Basque accent as well, it's just so cool and calculated and controlled as well. It's not kind of snide and poking and sarcastic like Pep Guardiola. Alonso has this honesty about him, and he'll hide and mask things behind a smile as well, but he knows exactly what he's doing. You always feel like he's in control, whether it's on the pitch, on the ball, or behind the scenes, taking the penalty, in a media conference, press room. He always feels in control and knows exactly what he's doing, and every word is calculated and thought out as well. In that case, the Liverpool way is also going to be prepared in terms of playing out the narrative to how he expects. I don't think he's going to be as reactionary as a Jurgen Klopp, who will see things in the moment and go with the gut instinct. He will be prepared for situations, and the players will be trained and prepared appropriately, which gives you some kind of confidence to see the game in a different way, depending on how it plays out, to adapt to different versatile formation or tactics, which we will go into in a second as well on the actual simulator. But it's where Alonso can get that balance right between rallying the troops and getting them to follow him into battle. But luckily, in that regard, we have the leaders on the pitch who will do that. Van Dijk, Endo, Alisson, all of these guys on the pitch, you follow them into battle because they're battle-hardened warriors and they'll lead by example from the front. Mo Salah, for example, what a professional to follow. And what you have to understand about Xabi Alonso is he's a modern man of integrity, oozing class and charisma, but he does things the right way. He managed first the under-14s, the youth teams in Real Madrid. Then he went into Real Sociedad B and really uplifted the spirits and turned around the season, got the morale up as well. And now he's at Bayer Leverkusen, laying down the foundations for sustained success, because obviously overthrowing an empire like Bayern Munich, an institute like Bayern Munich, right, with tactical acumen, dominating in the head-to-heads, dominating the rest of the league, doing it with style and class as well. He really is the modern mantra for how to raise a successful football club, and he will do it the right way as well. He'll work with a sporting director, he will work with any sports scientist, work with the data, use modern day technology. He is the leading manager of this current generation, which means he will adapt into that framework and that ecosystem as well, and he will have his say on transfers. Obviously they'll be signed off for him, but he will recommend the type of player that he wants and the actual profile of player and attributes he needs for his particular functions to get his philosophy across. And philosophy is the most important thing I want to talk about with Xabi Alonso. And it's not just the backroom staff and the coaching setup and all that kind of thing. But even before we get to that stage, there might be a lot of reasons why Xabi Alonso won't come. First and foremost, the outstanding reason why Xabi Alonso might not come is because Liverpool might not even make an offer. He might not be the #1 target. According to the data analysts, the data scientists, the metrics, there might be a more outstanding candidate. They might be looking at Ruben Amorim, a completely different approach. Now, he doesn't have links to Liverpool, but he's doing a fantastic job at Sporting. The players will run through walls for him. He's outstanding in terms of working with budget and bringing the most out of youngsters and potential in that squad as well. Could they be looking at him? Could they be looking at Nagelsmann? An easier appointment to make, having left the national team after his short tenure very, very soon. He could be the preferred candidate, a German following on from Klopp as well, well respected in the industry. He might not be first choice. Another thing is, will Alonso himself take the offer, even if it is offered? Could he be waiting for Real Madrid? Could he want to leave a lasting legacy at Leverkusen, show that it's not just a one-off, that he can dominate Bayern season upon season until the Real Madrid offer comes? Could he want more experience? Could he have plans for next season at Leverkusen? Have they secured transfer targets? Have they done something to placate him and really make him stay? Simon Rolfs and other people within Leverkusen, the sporting director, seem very, very confident that Alonso may stay. He might be a man of integrity, want to see his contract through, see the project out. There are many, many reasons that Alonso may not come, but if the offer is made, it looks hard to see that he would turn it down. Leverkusen could stand in the way. That's another potential issue, because Alonso would not kick up a fuss in his legacy and, you know, say I'm leaving or mutual contract termination, all that kind of thing. So everyone has to align in getting Alonso into Liverpool. Liverpool need to want him, need to pay what it takes to get him. Do it on Leverkusen's terms, and Alonso would have to want to come to Liverpool, or not just leave Leverkusen, because he could go a few different places, but actually want to come to Liverpool as well. And it could be timing as well. It could be a family decision. Lots of elements to think about why Alonso may not end up in Liverpool, even though it makes a lot of sense. However, we as fans would really, really cherish him at Liverpool, because he's got that rapport, he's got that supportive network, he's got that connection with us. He's a classy player for us. He scored the equaliser in Istanbul. He's got the memories. We remember him pinging the ball out wide, over the top. All these beautiful memories, the goals from his own half, dictating the play, the pass master. Everyone in world football has a positive thing to say about Xabi Alonso, and I even had that Champions League exclusive gold font shirt and somebody nicked it. Dang. Hopefully it turns up one day, but I'm sure someone nicked it. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is Alonso would be a class act at Liverpool, well respected. He'd get the fans on his side straight away, because he is a legend, a living legend at Liverpool, and he could make a dynasty because he's still fairly young, but he's reached the pinnacle of what he can do in terms of imbuing his tactical flair, his knowledge of the game, his vision for how the game should be played. He's demonstrated it with this set of Leverkusen players, but he's also demonstrated it with the Real Madrid youth and the Real Sociedad B team as well. So there is a pedigree there, and he comes with a respectful reputation in the industry, and you expect Liverpool to be playing good things. He's not a defensive coach at all. He's a very possession-based transitional coach who again presses as well. We're going to go into the tactical setup very, very shortly, but he'd be a very, very good fit for Liverpool, and I guess it's based on the body of work that he's produced so far, which is why a lot of Liverpool fans want him in place at Liverpool. So let's get onto the pitch and have a look. Let's first of all look at Bayer Leverkusen and what they do currently, why he's successful, and then we'll see how that could potentially translate to Liverpool, but why I think you need to take a completely different approach to how Xabi Alonso would set up at Liverpool. Let's go. Now, when you talk about Xabi Alonso as a manager, if you were to ask me what I think about Xabi Alonso as a manager, the way to describe him is philosophy and innovation, not formation, okay? And I'll tell you exactly what I mean. This is how Leverkusen predominantly set up, this nice 3-4-2-1 formation. The Christmas tree formation of Milan, slightly inverted because Milan play 4-3-2-1. However, what is the concept of this? 3 very strong athletic centre-backs. Van Dijk, Konate, very athletic centre-backs, dominant. But what they like to do is draw in the offensive press, draw in the attackers, because then it makes the lines that they can penetrate and play the ball. You have Grimaldo, Xhaka, Palacios and Frimpong in front of you. And Kosono, Tar and Tapsoba are very, very good at relieving the pressure by drawing in the press and playing the ball around, okay? Now, there's one thing that really facilitates this, and this is something that Pep Guardiola is the absolute master of doing, right? Is that when the ball goes into a Xhaka or Palacios, they know the passing lanes into space. And what I mean by that is if a player gets drawn into Jonathan Tah, for example, Tah can ping it into Xhaka and on the first touch under pressure with his back to the opposition, because he should know 360 vision where the opposition are going to press him and the direction they're pressing him from. The ball can come into Xhaka and Xhaka straight away can either play it into Tapsoba or Tapsoba can advance and he'll play it into this space here, right? Straight away, one touch. Rodri is the master of doing this. Fernandinho did it beautifully. Nigel de Jong at Manchester City did it beautifully as well. These kind of players who can play it off into the space and then you progress with the ball and everyone shifts over to cover the positions. So these are trigger points that allow you to progress the ball, draw in the press and make spaces for the attack and the offense to build up. This formation allows 3 points of triangles here. So you've got Tapsoba, Xhaka, Tah, to Palacios, to Kosono, to a man over here. And additionally, he can play it out wide to Frimpong or he can play it out wide to Grimaldo as well. Now, the reason why this formation is particularly effective, right? And it's not just in regards to how they play out from the back, because they're very, very effective from playing out of the back. But on the counter-attack and on the defensive transition, so if we get turned over up and higher on the ball or on the pitch, this is a very, very tight-knit unit because these guys close all the spaces. Where in this space can you play in and behind them? You've got 3 athletic centre-backs who can push forward on the front leg to fill in a gap. So if he goes there, he can cover it in behind as well. Similar concept on the other side. This is very, very tight, a very, very solid and defensive unit. So why did Alonso set this up? Why did Alonso set up this way? It's about the players and the personnel that you have. Grimaldo and Frimpong are very, very special players. Frimpong is super, super offensive. I brought up Cicinho back in the day, right? Brazilian offensive right back. Cicinho's heat map is all over this kind of side. And Frimpong is more or less a pseudo shadow striker, starting from deep, transitioning into this space here. This pocket here is where Frimpong is super effective. Think electricity against water in Pokemon. Frimpong has huge attacking offensive threat, huge capabilities in terms of carrying the ball, shooting the ball, crossing the ball. In fact, he's almost like if you have an athletic version, an agile version of Trent Alexander Arnold in this space, Frimpong is it. He's an attacking, flying, half space winger, pseudo fullback, pseudo wingback that really enjoys the attacking space, attacking third here, and he's covered because Palacios and Kos over here can cover him appropriately. It's kind of what Liverpool do on transition to cover for Trent Alexander going forward, except for the fact that Trent is more dominant outside in the right half space, whereas Frimpong really gets into the box to add an extra body, because you need that. On the face of it, on the bonnet face of it, you've only got one person up there, except from 2 floating number 10s, which we'll get to in a second. So Frimpong is almost like a shadow striker, facilitated by the players covering him intelligently. Okay, so Frimpong is one of the reasons why this formation works. The other reason is Grimaldo is a baller. He's a proper baller. Coming in from Benfica, was it free transfer? He is really technically able, and he does what Man City do as well. Initially, moving a fullback into the midfield. Think João Cancelo. So Liverpool have inverted Trent Alexander Arnold there. Gomez inverts on occasion. Conor Bradley inverts on occasion. But Grimaldo inverts and adds the extra body. And he's a roaming ball player who gets the ball, receives the ball anywhere, relieves the pressure, distributes the ball. He really, really roams and really moves around to give the options, adding an extra man. So if they want to overload the other side, Grimaldo can go out here to be the next attacking threat. And his delivery is quality. He's got really good left-footed delivery, a really proficient left foot, really good threat. So he always adds extra man in midfield. And when you look at this, if you have Frimpong in this position, Palacios covering, Xhaka, Hoffman, Wirtz going deep, Grimaldo, you have a lot of bodies. It's a 5 in midfield with athletic defenders who can cover. I don't want to see Hincapié in this conversation in terms of we've got to sign Hincapié if Alonso comes, because he's a left-footed, left-sided centre-back cover for Van Dijk. Hincapié doesn't even start for Leverkusen. He started, what, 50%, maybe 55% of their games. He did come back from injury, doesn't matter. Hincapié is not at the required level, I would say, to be a starter in the Liverpool team, because he's not even a starter for the Bayer Leverkusen team. If you look at his attributes, left-footed centre-back, sure. But is he the calibre and quality enough to dislodge or provide a real challenge to Van Dijk, our captain? No. Can he play on the right-hand side? I've never seen him play on the right-hand side. It's Tapsoba, Tar, and Kos over here. Kosono is a decent player. I can't say his name consistently, so I'm just going to call him Kos-chan for now. Kos-chan, yay. So, okay. So you have these two flying wing backs, okay, who don't really defend, because these two players are great in the channels as well, but they add a lot of overall quality to the transition of the team. Wirtz is key to this team as well. Another reason why this works so well is because of the existence of Florian Wirtz, who's their best player bar none. This is a €100 million player. He had a really bad injury, but he's showing once again he's probably the star of the Bundesliga this season in particular. What he can do is he can roam everywhere, get his foot on the ball and make the play happen. He is the roaming playmaker. Imagine that one Roman Riquelme had pace, you got Florian Wirtz. Wirtz isn't quite that technical marvel that Riquelme had, because Riquelme didn't need the pace to still dominate a game. You'd always look for him, always find him. But Wirtz can travel into any position to pick up the ball, allowing Grimaldo to go into advanced position and hitting the ball down the line, or breaking the lines into Boniface, or switching the play into Frimpong. So this ball over the top, find Hoffman in half space, all facilitated by Xhaka and Palacios' endless running to really allow Wirtz to get on the ball and dictate play, because Wirtz is press resistant as much as anybody in the game. His technical ability is sky high. His game intelligence is sky high. Hoffman roams in and around the 10 position and really takes up those spaces to occupy opposition number 6 and presses the number 6 as well. And Wirtz has more or less a free role to go where he needs to. I mean, you're talking about your 4-2-3-1 formation with your classic number 10. Literally, Hoffman can roam in and around Boniface. You have your two flying wing backs, probably delivery from this side, to be honest, and Frimpong adding the spare man, which means Hoffman goes into that position, covered by players as appropriate. So the reason why Alonso settled for this formation is the existence of these three centre-backs, a willing, effective run up front in Boniface. Adley's really good as well. Effective number 10s, and releasing Florian Wirtz to do the damage, and knowing that Frimpong from deep, the same conundrum that opposition managers have against Trent Alexander Arnold and now Conor Bradley, is what can you do when a guy starts so deep and just runs straight into your box again and again and again. He's got the dribbling abilities of a flying winger. He's got the touch, the awareness of space to burst into, good pace, good technical ability, good shooting ability, good crossing ability, a playmaking Grimaldo. It's very hard to unravel this team, and it's also really defensive on the defensive transition, because you can't break through as well. I think they just don't concede counter-attacking goals. I've never seen them really under threat when they've lost the ball. They're solid, they know their role. Really effective Leverkusen team. But this is determined by this player here, Florian Wirtz, this player Grimaldo, this player Frimpong, the qualities of these three centre-backs, and the defensive discipline of these players. Now, why do I think he won't play this at Liverpool? Okay, there's two main reasons why I think he won't play this at Liverpool. Alonso is tactically versatile. He is a genius. He is a visionary, and he's innovative. So at Real Sociedad B, he primarily played a 4-2-3-1. At the Real Madrid youth team, he played 4-3-3. He adjusts the tactics based on the players and profiles he got and what he's trying to do for that particular season to unlock the game-winning conditions. The game-winning conditions for here is Frimpong in this half space here, covered appropriately, Grimaldo in this space to deliver, or overloading the central midfielder, or Wirtz getting on the ball, everyone opening up and creating the lines by running laterally and playing the ball through as well. Defensive win conditions are making sure you're tight-knit unit, the communication is good, drawing the press as deep as you can, pinging it into these players and pinging it off on the first touch layoff to release the players to fly, and covering, really pushing them into the opposition half, penning them in, similar to what Liverpool do. Because look at this red arrow right here, winning the ball high up, gain pressing, transitioning the turnover in the opposition half, winning the ball in their area, having the ball played in their area, having the game in their half, which means that your closest route to goal is winning the ball somewhere here and going for goal and keeping them as far away from your defence and your box as possible, which is why they don't actually, I don't think they play much in here, because they're just so dominant in possession. They know their role and they win the ball very high up. So very strong team. So I digress a little bit. Let's get into Liverpool. Now, if Liverpool were to play this formation, who would go in here? And people keep clamouring in left-footed centre-back. You don't need that. Van Dijk's not left-footed and he plays left-sided centre-back. Quansah he's the answer to Van Dijk's backup, and he's not left-footed either. So yeah, we don't need that. That's a media narrative. In theory, great to have, but not necessary at all. Okay. And if you look at this shape, by the way, it's almost a box. It's almost a box as well. You've got that box formation which Klopp transitions to. So it's very similar to how Klopp may transition in game when we're on the offensive. So it's interesting, but let's see. If you're going with a setup at the back here, I would probably put Van Dijk here. If you're going like for like, Van Dijk, Alisson Becker, Konate, Gomez, Endo, Mac Allister. If you're trying to imitate this as much as possible in terms of the personnel and what this team is actually trying to achieve, this is the key one, and that's the hard one to really imitate in terms of what this guy can do and what he needs to do, because you're probably looking at a Szoboszlai here. Now, who can do this role? If you're looking for a player who can do this role, only Gravenberch potentially 5 years down the line probably fits here. And Mac Allister can do an imitation of this role right now. The only one that's actually somewhat close to what Florian Wirtz does would be Harvey Elliott. Now, you're telling me Robertson needs to play, Trent Alexander Arnold needs to play, a lot of big name players. Where is your Mo Salah? Where is your Lucho Diaz, for example? I mean, Lucho Diaz, no, he's not quite. Doesn't have the vision and the ability to just be that extra body in midfield in the same way Elliott does. In terms of attributes and stylistic matches for Wirtz, Liverpool just don't have it, which is one of the main reasons, actually. I'll come into a second, a bit of spoilers here. One of the main reasons he won't play this is because we don't have a player like Florian Wirtz that we need to find again and again and again. De Bruyne is the closest match, who gets the ball from any position, even in deep. You don't mind a Wirtz deep because he can dictate the play through the lines. Thiago Alcantara, somewhat similar. But Wirtz is better in offensive third than Thiago Alcantara because he can shoot, he can thread the through ball as well consistently. He's got more pace than Thiago. Wirtz is outstanding. If we wanted to play this, we have to sign a Wirtz, by the way. Yeah, so Harvey Elliott is the closest thing. And what does that look like? Van Dijk, left-hand side, dominant, covers the channels. We know that. Konate, our pace in the middle, physical mountain tower. Gomez, the pseudo kind of full-back, centre-back hybrid who can cover the channel as well and add extra body in midfield, stepping in. Endo, the intelligent destroyer, but he's a baller as well, having the techers, the heart of the midfield. Mac Allister, the brains, the intelligent. Szoboszlai, the beauty, so the brawn, the beauty, the brains, in different order. Brains, beauty, brawn. Szoboszlai is your classic Hoffman in and around the attacker, so he'd be your attacking midfielder, not your playmaker, attacking midfielder, looking for shots from range, anything that bobbles in and out, can transition into that space as well with Bradley transitioning in. But the problem you have that Bradley is our closest thing to a Frimpong who can get in the box because he always fashions a chance to shoot anyway, Bradley, but once again it's unknown whether he can be that consistent attacking threat that Frimpong is, just because Frimpong is superb. But I think he can. I think Bradley can. That's the closest match. And if you're looking for a person who can add extra body in midfield, but also very comfortable on the ball, playing off both feet with quality left-footed delivery and the technical attributes of a Grimaldo, who's very, very comfortable with your tiki-taka, your rondos, your technical left back. Okay, Robertson is your more energetic left back. Tsimikas is your technical left back. Similar to Grimaldo, you're looking at Tsimikas in that role. Once again, not Florian Wirtz, but the most comfortable roaming, receiving the ball under pressure, turning. He's left-footed. And Nunez, self-explanatory, the athletic forward who darts in the channels, makes space, runs in behind, works his arse off. Agent of chaos, you can't drop him really. A Gakpo wouldn't work in this formation in the same regard because you need someone with pace to pull the lines off both sides. Diogo Jota somewhat could play this Nunez role as well, but it's more likely going to be Nunez up front. Jota could potentially play the Szoboszlai role, the attacking midfield role, the intelligent shadow behind Nunez. But yeah, once again, this is probably more stylistically similar to the players in position. Now, why do Liverpool not want to play this formation? Two reasons. We don't have Florian Wirtz, and Bradley, although he could be as good as Frimpong in terms of the consistent offensive attacking threat, is not a Frimpong yet because he's only just come in the season and the sample size is small, but he could become there. But why do you want to drop so many of your consistent attacking threats? Mo Salah would have to play here. he'd have to play here if he stays, because he's not going to be your wing back. He's not going to be your wing back. You're wasting one of the highest metric scorers and goal contributors in world football consistently season on season by putting him here. And he hasn't got the pace, and he's wasted his back to goal up front, and he's not going to run endlessly into the channel. He needs to be in and around the area, so Salah behind Nunez would work, okay, but not long term, because he's gaining on in ages. I mean, he could work long term, but yeah, he might be off to Saudi Arabia. I don't think he will. He's got pride. He wants to achieve things. He's still got goals and targets to break. So you're losing an attacker here, because then where's Szoboszlai? You could have Szoboszlai here, but he hasn't got that same kind of exuberance of Bradley to get up and down, up and down. I mean, he's got the engine, he's got the delivery. He could play here, but once again, then you'll be dropping a Trent and a Bradley, and overall they fit the fullback and wing-back profile better than Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai is better in the attacking midfield third here, okay? So you haven't got your worths. You're losing so many of your quality attackers. Lucho Diaz, the reason why we're so successful this season is the overload of offensive capability, the attacking players, Jotas. Look at all the goal contributions, nearly double figures for everyone, right, in terms of assists and goals. Nunez, Jota, Gakpo, Salah, Elliott. The Lucho Diaz, right, in this formation, he's wasted because he's predominantly that out-and-out mercurial left winger who can drift inside, cut inside, but you're already in his space with the two number 10s. He's not going to be a wing back again because you're wasting him, forcing him to shunt back and fall into shape. He could be this player, similar to Wirtz, picking up the ball, giving the ball, but he's not the best passer. He just is not the best passer, the silkiest, and he's not going to hit that through ball from deep, which Wirtz is one of Wirtz's outstanding attributes, right? So, Jota, Lucho Diaz, Gakpo, just kind of don't fit in here. You can force the players in here, but it's not a natural fit for some of our biggest strengths this season, which is scoring goals and being on the offense. Sure, it's defensively solid, defensively responsible. That looks as dominant in terms of intelligence and heart and tackling and ball playing and techers. These two look great as fullbacks. I mean, you could interchange Robertson here. He'd do something slightly different. You could interchange Trent here. But on subject of Trent, you have this world-class distributor of a ball, stylistically similar to Alonso, even though he's not a midfielder, Trent. Watch my video before. Receiving the ball on the half turn, for example, Trent could play this with absolute dominant delivery, but once again, Trent is not the one athletic enough to get into that box and beat the man on the dribble. He's not that kind of winger. He prefers to be deeper playing his balls. I mean, working Trent in here has a lot of benefits, and I never want to see Trent as a number 10 because he just does not have the elusiveness and agility and that quick reaction, that low centre of gravity to worm his way into those little pockets and worm his way out of trouble and fashion chance, sidestep either way to shoot. He's better coming from deep with space on the ball to transition to a space to make cause and effect. And also in midfield, he suffers from the same issues I mentioned time and time again here. The opposition will just sit on him and his effectiveness will be absolutely nullified because yeah, you need him to transition into space, to use his vision, to use his gifted quality wand of a right foot to move the ball around. So when you have your Nunez, you have your Jota, you have your Lucho Diaz, you have your Trent Alexander Arnold, you have your Robertson, why would you try to shunt them into a position that does not make the most of their strengths? What Alonso will be looking to do is looking at the Liverpool squad as a whole and thinking, how can I get the most out of them in order for them to fit my philosophy? The philosophy is to press the opposition high up, to play majority of the game in their half, to be defensively solid, to be protected against the counter-attack, to use the main attributes we have to unlock the opposition, to keep the ball, to retain the ball, to get the passing lanes appropriate so that we always have an off ball or a way to distribute the ball, to get the players into the right position, to get them into the game-winning scenarios to win the game. We know some game-winning scenarios. Salah in this half space here, Nunez slid in either side of this position, Trent Alexander Arnold in any position on the right half space, on a right offensive quadrant, even from right deep, Robertson in and around the back, overlapping, Szoboszlai within shooting distance, Elliott, a pseudo Salah cutting into the left half space, working his magic as well, Gakpo with his back to goal, turning shot, hopefully not injuring himself. We have a lot of gaming contributions, set pieces, Van Dijk to dominate in the air. There's so many possibilities for this Liverpool team to win a game, and we've got so much firepower on the bench, and it's a philosophy that has to be drawn from the very, very early days in your Liverpool career, because even from the youth setup, Klopp has famously made sure that all the way from the youth, all the way to the senior setup, they play exactly the same way. Now, if you have such a specific system, you need such specific personnel, Florian Wirtz at number 10, and we really do not have an out-and-out playmaker number 10. We have a lot of attacking midfielders and a few shadow strikers. I'll do that in a different video. It's hard to get that playing methodology because you lack the personnel in the lower lower tiers, in the youth teams, for example, in the under 21s, in the reserves. Okay, so once again, I do not think Alonso will play this formation at Liverpool. And if he did decide to play this formation at Liverpool, he'd literally have to sign a world-class number 10. He'd have to sign Florian Wirtz or someone of that ilk, and he'd probably have to sell a few of our attackers, someone like Lucho Diaz. Salah will probably be going to Saudi Arabia, or somewhere that we can get the most money to reinvest in a Florian Wirtz, for example. So it's too much of a transition, too much of a risk. They're well established, they've got the patterns of play, they've got the relationship with the players already. What do I think he will play at Liverpool? Okay, let's set up. Just going to start moving a few people around. Don't mind me. You're going to see the formation, bit of spoilers for what's coming up here. Boom. It's going to be 4-2-3-1. I think it's going to be 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, but judging by what Alonso does with the Leverkusen team, I think it's going to be this. The only inversion is obviously the 2 8s and a number 6 pivot. I think it'll be double pivot. And who goes in where? Let's put some names to faces. First of all, Van Dijk slots there. Konate slots there. I'm going to put Bradley here for now. Robertson here for now. Endo. Okay, reasoning behind this. Alisson, undisputed number 1. Van Dijk, Konate are our best centre-back pairing. It's unfortunate about Matip because he could have broken the lines with a run as well. Robertson, defensively the most solid, but can bomb up and down the wing as well. And Conor Bradley, similar to Robertson on the right hand side, but a little bit more technically gifted, but Robertson is more experienced, and for now that partnership with Van Dijk is unbeatable. But this defensive duo, the young guns have a shot at imitating that as well. Mac Allister and Endo, ability to receive the ball deep, turn on the ball, play the ball through the lines, tackle, destroy the brains. Endo can allow Mac Allister to invert, which gives that player free roam to go on the right hand side as well. Looks very strong. It's basically what we play now. But I think we'll start in this formation. And the reason why we start in this formation is because of the trigger points, okay? Alonso loves his trigger points. What I mean is Van Dijk into Mac Allister, ping it off into Robertson, who bombs forward. Similar, Konate pings it into Endo. Endo finds Bradley in the half space, ping on forward. Inverting into this position. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Cover, cover, cover. There you go. There's your shape. There's your shape that won't be broken, because when they turn over the ball, you're not going to beat Van Dijk and Konate for pace. They can step in front foot and defend as well. Mac Allister, Endo shield in front. Endo can drop into the middle. And then, as usual, you have this. So what is that? What is that player there? Well, depends on what you want to do. Could be Jota. Could be Szoboszlai. Could be Harvey Elliott. Fabio Carvalho. Not at this stage. Let's reset again. Okay. So I think Xabi Alonso highly values a top number 10, an absolute playmaker, the absolute don. Now, a few players can play this formation. Szoboszlai is the one that you're going to find hard to drop in this particular setup. Okay, so what do you get from Szoboszlai? Attacking midfielder, roaming in and around Nunez for any spillage, and long shots, pot shots, game intelligence, roaming out wide to allow Salah into the half space as well. You have your classic setup. This is how Liverpool plays. This is how Liverpool always plays. So you're going to have that triangle there that's very effective, and Salah can roam and be the playmaker as well. You could potentially have Salah in the number 10. He could do the job there, but you're losing somewhat when he always pins the fullback back. So Szoboszlai is your traditional attacking midfielder, and he'll work his arse off and predominantly play more from the right hand side, because Lucho Diaz cutting in allows Robertson. You always have that kind of shape. Endo, Mac Allister can go either side. It doesn't matter so much. But yeah, there you go. Attacking midfielder, Szoboszlai. But he's not a true number 10 because he doesn't really want to get in here and pick up the ball from deep and play the ball through the lines. But he can on occasion, especially late towards the end of games and start of the season. He did that to allow Mac Allister to roam and pick up. So the good thing about this midfield is so versatile. It really could work. But he's not your super number 10, silky, threaded through balls, first touch, playing the ball in. He's more of an attacking midfielder. Now you put Jota here. Jota really does give the balls that the strikers like, but Jota's really effective in and around the box as well. So you want him kind of in the front line because it gives him more opportunities to go in and on beyond Nunez. Nunez drags someone out wide, Jota can roam. Unless you're really inverting Salah and Lucho Diaz to be part of the midfield, your classic 4-2-3-1 tight formation like Valencia sometimes plays with Vicente and Rufete, that kind of thing. In which case, Nunez being a ball playing a part of the triangle allows Jota to be the dummy runner, shadow runner, in and amongst the players as well. So Jota could be an option there if you want to overload the midfield initially, but then as the extra man up front, which means you kind of play a 4-2-3-1 4-2-4 formation, which is how we surprised Manchester City. Really should have scored Firmino, really should have scored Mane, really should have scored. We didn't get ahead, we lost possession, and then that particular game. But there's a world where Jota plays there. If you want more security in the middle, you play your Harvey Elliott or your Gravenberch. Now, we've kind of been through what Harvey Elliott can offer, pseudo Florian Wirtz as well, and Gravenberch could be the roaming midfielder, just giving the full freedom of the defensive, full freedom away from defence, mind you, and just be a nuisance in offensive space, entering the pockets. Fabio Carvalho, we've talked about previously. Well, Gakpo can kind of sit there. Maybe that's his role. Maybe he's the one that receives the ball with his long limbs, first touch and holding the ball up, long shooting ability, but also an extra man and an offensive threat as well. But I think Jota's a bit more smooth and a bit more technically proficient in that particular role. So it's probably Jota in that slot more than Gakpo. So there's your options kind of at number 10. But I also think that specialist number 10, you're looking at a specialist number 10 if Alonso plays this formation, and there's no one really better or available than Florian Wirtz, but I think he really likes Leverkusen, so you're probably looking at him to stay there. Another one I really like is Archie Gray at Leeds. Not really number 10, a midfielder, but yeah, let's talk about transfers a different day. And if Alonso doesn't want to mess up the rhythm too much, he'll literally just go with Klopp's 4-3-3, which works, is effective. We're top of the league using this formation, right? Where exactly do you need to replace a starter here? This is outrageously strong, and you can't even find room for Trent. Trent changes the whole disposition of the game. So let's just, for example, play this formation. You're going to see more of what we already have. Endo protecting the middle, Trent transitioning into the midfield slot, Konate covering the lines, Van Dijk, Robertson well versed in what we're doing, box to dominate the centre of the pitch, Lucha Diaz causing havoc, Mo Salah causing havoc, Nunez causing havoc as well. So the options are really, really interesting, but hopefully you understand why we will not play the Leverkusen 3-4-2-1 formation. Okay, that just doesn't make sense to me. You've got so much attacking threat and you're giving up an attacker for a specialist wing back or third centre back from the off, and it's not how Liverpool play. It just isn't how Liverpool play, unless we want to buy additional personnel and sell players for that. Hopefully you found that video very, very informative, super analytical, all my thoughts laid on the table. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I appreciate all the interaction, really. Thank you so much. 2,000 subs already. This was a video I've been wanting to make for a long, long time. I love Xabi Alonso. He is my preferred choice. Hopefully Liverpool's preferred choice. Hopefully he wants to come to Liverpool, but he's not the only choice. I will be making a video on Amorim as well, right? And how we will look under Amorim. And I'll also make one on Nagelsmann. And if I got time, and if there's a demand for it, if this video does well, let's do the whole shebang. Let's do De Zerbi. Let's do Frank. Let's not do Tuchel. Let's not do Pochettino. He might be out of a job. No way, Ten Hag. Whew. Till next time, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Smash the like. Miyazaki Manichiban. Janet.